Hello, welcome back, my dear friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to begin our new journey in which we will discuss about LWC topics. And in this new playlist, we will be focusing on hands-on part where we will be developing new components, and we will figure out how we can optimize our LWC components, and we will also figure out different tags and tools which is available in our LWC. So in our today's video, let's create a calculator first, which is kind of a stepping stone whenever we want to do any web development. So let's begin. So what I will do, I will simply create one component, namely, let's suppose I will give the name as simple calculator. So let me type it simple, and I want it to be exposed, and I also want the CSS file, and I want it to be included in record page, app page, and home page. So as you can see, I have a Salesforce org spinned up, and we will in real time see what all changes is happening on in the page over here, app page over here. So I just created an simple calculator over here. As you can see, we have four files: HTML file, JS file, CSS file, which we just mentioned in our properties. So as you can see in our meta file, we have all the targets, namely record page, app page, and home page. Basically, it specifies in which all sections we can show our this LWC component. So let's see whether we are able to see or not. So I will simply do, I will simply edit the page, and I will attach this component in our layer app page so that we can see in real time what all changes we are doing and where it is available around. As you can see, we can see our simple calculator. What I will do, I will simply drag it in our second section over here. Now I will save it. Okay, so let's move back to the app page. So currently you can see there, you can see nothing over here because if we go back to our HTML part, the template is empty. So let's give a container first so that we can initiate our development. So what we will do, we will simply use out of the box card, which is lightning card. Okay. So for your simplicity, let me simply drag it a little bit more, and I will remove everything apart from lightning card. And as you can see, variant is narrow and title is hello. And in case of icon name, I will give instead of account as calculated insights. Now I'll simply save it, and as you can see, I'm getting some error. So let's figure out what might the error be. So currently it is saying invalid HTML for character tag. As you can see, we have double tags over here. So I will simply remove one and now try to save it. And now it is successfully saved. And let's refresh the page and see whether something is visible or not. As you can see, we can see one container, and as you can see, I have given icon name just calculated inside. So this is logo. These icon names are visible in our SLDS documentation. From there, you can pick up any icon. I'm aware of the name of this icon, so I have simply written it calculated insights. But you can go to that documentation. I will attach the link in the description where you can see all the icon names, and then you can modify according to the need. So now this is the card, and inside this card we want a kind of body, or you can say box. So let me create one box. I will create one new div over here so that we can target it as per the need basis, div class, and I will use the out of the box property for the creation of box, which is sldx box. And let's give a name so that we can target to this div, and I will give the name as outer box, or you can say outer body for now. So we created one div over here. So now what it will do, let's see. Basically it will create one box over here, and that box can be utilized as our output screen. So let's see how it looks like. Currently this looks like this. It is expanded to the entire box. Will do the CSS part after some time. Let's just finish the prototyping. So after this, what we will do, we will create one display screen inside this. So let's suppose we will create one motive over here. Again, I need SLDX box, and now I will give the name as display screen. So now what I have given, I have created one body. This is the calculator. Inside this, I have added one more box. So now this is the outer body or the calculator. Inside this, we have one more screen, by the help of which we can see all the results and outputs. So let's see how it looks now. So I just refresh the page, and now there will be no difference seen as of now because the styling is pending. So we'll do that styling one later. So now let's create one more component for giving the display buttons, and I will name the component as action buttons, or you can say calculate actions. So let me create one more component, and here I will give the name as calculate actions. Or to be better, we will give the name as calculator actions because we are developing calculator. And again, same thing, everything, and I will deploy this component. Okay, so now I got the component, lightning LWC component. So now what I will do, I will simply okay, let me just expand it. Okay, now I got the height bar. Cool. So now what I will do, what the new component which I just created, which is calculate actions, I will simply tag it, or we can say embed it inside this, because we want to see the results, right? But we need to separate the boundaries. So this is a display screen where we will show the results, and below this only we will have one more box named as action buttons, or you can say action block. So we'll create one more block, action block. And inside these action blocks we will embed our new component which we just developed, so that the child parent relationship can be formed, and we will see how the things are happening over there. So what I will do, I will simply go to calculator actions and copy the JS name, because the name is case sensitive, so it is always better to copy the name when we are embedding it to the parent. So this is the parent, and sees that namespace which is given whenever we want to refer to an LWC, and then the name. The name has to be in kebab case. That means the first character has to be small, and the subsequent character like capital A, it has to be replaced with hyphen small a, like this. So now what we did, we embedded our child component over here. Now let's see how it looks in the UI. So on refreshing the page, so as you can see, we got one box over here. So this is our screen, and since the action button is empty, there is nothing action over here. So what it does is, like, the outer body is the outer container, which is the outer one which you can see. Then we have display screen. In display screen, this is the display screen, and then we have calculate action button. Currently it is empty, so you do not see any value over here. So now let's do some more dynamic stuff so that we can identify how the things are going on over here. So what I will do, I will simply go to our JS for the calculate HTML, and here I will declare one variable with @API so that we can display the result. So let's do it. So @API is a decorator, public decorator. Basically, it has an reactive property which updates at the dynamic runtime. So that's why it is used over here. So @API, and we will give the name as a result to 0. This is the default value. Since we are using @API over here, we have to import it from our LWC packages. So we will import it over here, API with API. We have saved it, and let's see how it looks like in the UI. Oh, no difference over here. So what is the need of here? Need of the result over here. We declared the value, but we didn't map it. Okay. So now what we will do? We will do the expression mapping over here. So we will go to our HTML, and inside display screen we will simply write the must syntax, which is for result, which we given over here. So let's simply go to JS, copy the variable so that we will give the correct name, and now I will save it. So on saving, let's see whether we get 0 or not in the container. Boom, we got 0. So that means dynamic mapping has been done. So now what it will do, whenever the value changes of this result, it will automatically change over here. Cool so far. So now we got a skeleton of our result screen. Now let's focus on our calculate actions, how it will look like. So let's go back to our calculate HTML, and here we will use our grid system styling over here. For that we will use grid class. So the syntax is like this: div class slds grid slds wrap, so that it will have auto wrapping properties. Cool. Now what we need to do, grid always have 12 column properties. That means we can have any number of column, provided that the sum of the entire column has to be 12. So now what we will do, we will create 4 columns so that we can have 0 to 9 numbers and our then 4 basic operations which we need to perform. So let's create that. So for that I need to create div class slds. SLDS has to be in double quotes, otherwise it will not work. SLDS call SLDS size underscore 1 of 4. Why I have given it of 4? Because I will create 4 columns of 3 sizes. Cool. So 1 of 4 basically segregate the size over there. So now let's see. We will close the div over here. Now we will simply create a button, because we want button to be clickable. So we will create one button with class slds button, which is the out of the box design, slds design given by Salesforce, which we can directly use. So let's create it. Then we want to give the button as brand, so that we will see blue button over here, button underscore brand. Then I will give the custom name so that we can do some styling if needed, action buttons. Cool. And one thing which we need to give the value which will be taken up whenever this button is clicked. So let's suppose I am creating my first button as button 1, and then I am giving the value as 1, and then I am closing the button. So let's see how it looks in the UI for the moment. So I will refresh the page. Okay, so now I can see one coming over here. So to reduce our work, I will simply copy paste the values and I will adapt it so that we can see how in the UI it looks like. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the number has to be like 1, 2, 3, and here I will give plus because I want to do some mathematical operation. As we have our simple calculator in our homes and now in our school, we will be developing the same thing. Okay, so 3, and here it will be like plus. So now let's see how in UI it looks like. Okay, it doesn't look good actually. Like if I expand it, you can see it is in same line, but it has to be expanded in the entire column base. So now that means we need to do some CSS over here. So let's go back to our CSS file. Remember, I have just created action button so that I can target this button. So now we will make use of this property and we'll go to calculate action.cs. And here we will give some dummy property, remove this dummy property, and we will target our name like dot action button. let's copy the value so that our life will be easier, because if the name changes or any keyword changes, it will not work because it is everything is case sensitive. This is action buttons. Now what we will do, we will give the width as 90%. Width as 90%, and then we will give margin left as 5% percent, and then what we will do, we'll give margin right as 5%. Cool. Now let's see how in UI it looks like, whether it is enhancing it or not. So now it is tagged in between, but if I zoom in, it is still stacked in between. So what might be the reason? Let's figure out. So currently we are going back to HTML. What might be the case? Let's think about it. Okay. So we are creating four columns, right? So that means the size has to be three. Let's see. Or what we can do, we will do other things, like we will give 3 of 12. Let's see how it looks like. Debugging is the process of the development. There is nothing wrong in it. So we'll do the same, 3 of 12. Then again here we will give 3 of 12. Okay. So the issue is, I figure out the issue is, what I did is like I have copied everything, every button in the same thing, in the same div, but we want different columns, right? So what we will do, we will simply remove this button for now. And now what we will do, we will copy this div because we want columns, right? One of four, one of four. So what we will do, we will simply copy it and then we will paste it separately like this. And now what we will do, we will remove the name, number, or the value. So let's do that. And here will be plus, and this will be also plus. I will save it, and now I will refresh it. Hopefully it will be in the same line. Yeah, see, as expected. So earlier what it is doing, we have given one of four, so it is dividing the section into four blocks, and inside first block only it is trying to add everything. Now it is segregated in four blocks. So now what we will do, we got one column over here, and now we'll copy the same column because we want to do the same thing three times more. So let's do it. Paste. But before that, let's do one more thing, because copy pasting is one thing, but we want to do some more operations over here. We want to display the value whatever we have over here to this result. Like if we click one, so one has to be updated over here, so two has to be updated over here. So now we will use the options of event handlers. Which event handler will be placed over here? On click, because we are clicking the buttons, right? One, two, three. So now what we will do, on each buttons we will create on click events, like on click has to be small. As you can see, intelligence is also suggesting it has to be small, and we will create one function over here, like a handle function, or we can say handle click. Cool. We will copy the same thing over here in the rest of the thing because we want to see the values. So we will simply copy, Control C, and we will simply give it over here, Control V, Control V, and again Control V, and we will save it. So now we have created we are saying that whenever on click is happening, you should call handle click function. That means it has to be defined. So what we will do, we will go to our JS, we will go to our JS, and here we will create one function. The one function has to be like handle click, as we have given the name over there. So let's copy the name because we want safety. We do not want any goof around. So we'll copy and paste, and then we will capture the event. And I will give let temp is equal to event.target.value. So now I will get the value which we specified in each button whenever that button is clicked. So now we will check if, so we will check it later. What we will simply do, we will simply override the value like this dot result is equal to temp. Cool. So now we want the values, we want to change this value. That means what we have to do, we have to use API so that we can use it over here, and here we will use the value at the rate API result, because that this is the value which we want to modify, correct? So we will simply do like this. Now what we will do, we have created a function, we have done everything. Now let's see whether it will work or not. I will refresh the page. Okay, so I'm clicking on 1 2 3, nothing is happening, but it should work, right? Because we have event handler over here, but everything. But the thing is, this is child component and this is parent component. That means the communication has to be happen right from child to parent. So the one way to do is like with the help of event propagation, or we also can say we will have a dispatcher event. So what we will do, we will create one dispatch event like constant fire. We will fire the event. Okay, new custom custom event, and we will give the name as result change. Cool. And now what we will do, we will simply give the node value. So we will give detail colon result colon this dot result. Okay, this is done, semicolon, and this dot dispatch event fire, and save. Okay, so it is showing some error. What might be the error? Okay, this thing has to be written inside a method. So inside this handle event only will fire whenever the changes are happening. Okay, so now let's see whether this is working or not. Okay, still it is not working. We have created a event handler also, we are firing it also. So what might be the missing case? Okay, yeah, so it is kind of like we are throwing a ball but there is no one to catch, right? So we are dispatching the event, but it has to be handled also, and the handling part will be coming in our parent, which is simple calculator.html. So now we are going back to our simple calculator.html, and here we will utilize the value. So in our calculator.js, this is the event name which we are given. So the same name has to be utilized in parent also in HTML with on keyword, like on your result name. So now whatever the event has been dispatched from child, it will be cached in this variable, and then we will pass this value to our change output, which is a new method. Cool. We will simply deploy it. And now what we will do, we will simply create a new function in our JS class, and we will do nothing major. We will simply use the event to override the value. Event this dot result is equal to event dot detail dot result. Cool. So now we have an event, we have dispatched the event, we have cached the event. So hopefully we will able to get the values. Let's try it out. 1, 2, 3 plus 3, 2. Cool. Communication is happening. Fine. But as you can see, the CSS is looking a bit clumsy. So let's fix this also. So we will simply go to our CSS file of the parent because this is parent container. So in parent container, we will go to CSS file, and remember we have two class names given over here like outer body and our action block. So we will utilize this class names and we will simply give some properties so that our component looks little bit better. So what we'll do, we'll simply copy the name so that our values are not getting distorted. So we will simply give this margin left as 10% and then margin right as also 10%. Left, right, done. And okay, some issues are there. What might be the issue? Let's see. Margin left. Okay, we have double column quotes. Now it will work. So now we are given the margins and we will also take care of the button. We also want the button to be a little bit better. So in button we will do the same, control V, and we will get the padding top as 2%. Padding top 2%. Cool. Now let's see the CSS part, how it looks like in the UI. So hopefully it will be a little better. Yeah, as you can see now it is looking a little bit better. And let me go to the full screen. So see there is some padding added at the top, and the actions and display screen also aligned as per the need basis. It is looking better than the previous screens. Okay, so now we got the buttons over here, all the values. So now we will add the remaining buttons like 0 to 9 as I told you. So what we will do, we will simply copy the entire grid. Okay, copy the entire grid. V, V, and V. So now what we will do, we gave 1 2 3, then that means this is 4 5 6. So let's give it 4 5 and this is 6. Cool. And then this is plus, that means this is minus. This is minus. Till 6 we are done, that means this will be 7. This will be 8. This will be 9. Okay, hopefully I'm in correct one only. 8 8 8 is here, control Z. Okay, then we have 9, and here also we will have 9. 8 is missing, so we'll give the 8 over here, and then we have given minus, that means this will be multiply. Then we will have our 9, we are done. Then this, now we will have some special cases. So till 9, now we will give this as value as clear. Okay, clear, because we want standard operations, and here we will also give clear. Okay, Since it is clear, that means the button needs to be changed, right? We cannot have same button for everything. So what we will do, instead of brand, let's give it as in destructive. Okay, and we will see after this changes how it looks in the UI. Destructive action button, everything is fine. Same goes, and this will be our 0. So the value has to be 0. Then this will be our calculate, and here also the value should be calculate, and this will be our divide because that is the other basic operation. Cool. So now let's save it, and then let's see in UI how it looks like. So we'll refresh the page, and boom, this is how it is. But as you can see, calculate is in blue, so let's change the color of calculate also, and I will give the color as success, which is the green color. So right, it will look little bit better. SUCCE success, and save. So let's go to the full screen mode. Control Shift R. Okay. So now, as you can see, still the CSS doesn't look good. It needs to be enhanced. So let's go to our JS, or we can say CSS, and let's see what we can do. Okay. So here we are in calculation.css, and here everything seems fine only. And let's then go back to our parent one, CSS. What might be the case that here the option is there but not on the other ones? Let's see our HTML class action block. hmm hmm okay, let's do one thing. Action button is this one, right, where we are giving the properties as action button. So let's do one thing. Let's give the padding as 2% from top. Padding top 2%, and let's see whether it looks a little bit better or not. Okay, let's we will focus on the CSS part later. Since this is JavaScript and LWC, let's complete our calculator, and then if the time permits, we will look at the CSS part. Okay, so now let's see whether our buttons are working or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0, 8, 5, clear, calculate. Okay, so now currently clear and calculate is also coming, which should not be the case. In case of clear, it should clear everything, and in case of calculate, it should calculate the values. Correct. So now what we will do, we will go to our JS where we are handling the event. Okay, so now what we will do over here, we will simply give our own conditions. So let's see what condition we can give. So we got our value over here, and currently let's forget this one. Okay, so now if the temp is equal to our calculate. Okay, so this is calculate. If this is equal to calculate, then what we will do, we will simply give right try catch block for safety. Okay, now what we will do, we will use here this dot result is equal to eval, then this dot result. Okay, so this will work. This is first condition. Now our second condition would be if this is template, else if temp is equal to clear. That means we will clean out the values. Okay, so we'll going to click the clear, then we'll go to JS clear. Then what we will do, we will simply give the value as this dot result to 0 because we are clearing out the result. Cool. And if these two conditions are failing, then what we will do, we will simply truncate the values. That means this dot result is equal to this dot result equal 0. If this is the case, then only we will give temp. Else what we will do, we will simply give this dot result plus temp. That means we will simply truncate the value. So this is done. Now let's see how it works in our UI. So I will simply refresh the page over here. So now let's see 1, 2, 3. This is how this else block is working. It is truncating everything. Then plus 50, 65. Then let's click on calculate. It should calculate the value. See, we got 188. And if you click the clear, it should clear out the value to 0. Cool. This is working fine as expected. But there is one big security concern. As you can see, we have eval function over here, right? So it is always advised to sanitize this value before processing, because if this is not done, then with the help of SQL injection, an attacker can help, and then your system can become vulnerable. So now what we will do, we will simply give one regex expression so that whatever the user gives the input, we can sanitize it. Sanitize expression. So this dot result dot replace. What we will do, we will replace everything apart from number if there is anything with space. Okay, so let give me write the expression. Okay, so now what I will do, it will sanitize the expression and we will use this value over here for evaluating. Okay, so as per the user perspective, there is nothing changed, but from our backend perspective, we add one layer of security so that malicious activity can be hindered, stopped. Okay, so now let's see whether our calculation is working or not. 123 plus 3, we get 126, minus 8, we will get 118, divide by 2, we will get 59. So now our calculator is well formed and it is working as expected. I know some of you will say that the UI is looking a little bit absurd, but we can look into this also. But as I can see, the video is already too long, so we'll wrapping up the today's session. Okay, and we will focus on it tomorrow in our coming videos more clearly. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you very much for keeping view on my videos. Signing off. Bye bye.